Hello. In this video I'm going to talk about intention versus intuition with our work, and I'm going to share some ideas and ways in which I am exploring my intentions for the Ramshackles project. Now, intentions really are about what we want to say with the work, what are the stories behind the work. And I think we've all had that experience where we watch a film and we don't feel there's a storyline, and it becomes quite irritating and quite boring. So similarly with our paintings, it's important for the viewer that there is a story that we are trying to tell with that work, because otherwise it's what is, in a way, what is the point? So last time I shared a video, I was sharing the start point for the developments of the Ramshackles paintings using cradle panels, similar to the one behind me. Now, it wasn't this one that I was doing. This is the largest of them. It's 76 centimetres square. But I shared others that I was doing, and I was keeping it very intuitive and playful and free, and I was doing it quite quickly. Now, behind that, though, I had done a lot of drawings and studies on location and back in the studio as a background to that. And I think what's important is that we're balancing both intuition, being intuitive, and also our intentions as well. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the camera around and share with you 3 ways in which I am trying to understand and develop my story and my understanding of what I'm trying to say for the Ramshackles project. So the first thing I'm doing is, not surprisingly, I'm journaling. But within that, there are a couple of things I thought I'd share with you that could be helpful. And in fact, there's 3 things that I do that I think could might help you in your journaling or your understanding about the subjects that you're painting about. So the first thing I do is that I have a list, and this is just a couple of them, or a few of them, of questions I ask myself to help me to write. Because I'm not a great writer, but I know it's really important for me to really try and unpick what it is I'm trying to say with my paintings, and I can only do that by writing. And so, well, I can do it in other ways as well, but writing is a helpful tool. So here is just a short list of some of the questions I ask, and you can just develop a list and keep adding to it as you think of really great questions. What's so special about your subject? What 3 words describe your favourite characteristics of your subject? How does the subject make you feel? And this one, really love this one. Imagine you have a solo show of your work in a contemporary gallery. It is the best work you've ever produced. It's an amazing gallery that you could have only dreamed of a few years ago. It's the opening night. You walk in. How do you feel? What do you see? So those are just some prompts, really. But leading on to that, what I also do, and you might have heard me mention this in previous videos, is I write a list of as many things I can think of, 30 to 50 things that interest, inspire, attract, enthrall, fascinate, or otherwise hook me into that subject. And I write them quickly. I try not to overthink them. I just keep writing. And sometimes you duplicate and you get rid of those and so on. But I've done that for the Ramshackles, and I've got 30 in the list. I then subcategorise them, and that leads me, and what I subsequently do, which I haven't done yet, but what I will do is I will get that down to a maximum of 10 things that I will put up on my wall that will help drive the work and help me tell that story. So anyway, so there's 50 things I get down to 10. So the third and final thing I wanted to make comment about is I do this. I do a bit of a mind map to try and organise my ideas. And you see in the booklet there that I've categorised the Ramshackles, and so this is kind of an extension of that, if you like. So the first thing on the mind map is, and it's sort of divided into 3, the architecture and physical structure of these buildings. That's clearly a big interest and fascination for me, that whole materiality, the character, what that represents, what that's a metaphor for, and so on. And the second thing is their context and location, their topography. They're sitting on a slope by the sea, there's coast, cliffs, etc. Then the third thing is their social and industrial context, which I also think is quite an important angle, which I need to explore. A metaphor in a way for lost tradition. And there's a couple of documentary photographers I want to explore in that context too. So the second thing I'm doing to understand what it is I'm interested in and to unpick my subject is studies, not just to warm up and to be loose and fresh, but actually to use as ways of understanding and unpicking and unraveling what it is I'm interested in. So these are really important. You may, wonder how you come up with it. What type of studies do you do? Well, I mean, my kind of the ways I do it is it comes from social media. It comes from my previous courses that I might have been involved with. I might have been a participant in, and I might have liked a particular approach. I might have adapted it to how I like it. They come from my previous work, what I know kind of works. So this, for example, has come from when I was doing the Edgelands work. So there's all manner of ways that you come up with the studies, and you adapt them to suit yourself. And this week I had some packaging, so I thought, right, I'm going to use this because it's very kind of wabi-sabi. It's very sort of ramshackle, really. They're all sort of battered pieces of card. So I've used that together with some collage pieces and some mark making. So I've got just literally some charcoal, some compressed charcoal, an intense pencil and 3 pencils and some matte medium to stick the collage, and that's it. And then I get started using these. What I'm exploring here is that combination of collage or sort of shapes together with line work and drawing. That's really what this one was about. So I'm building these drawings up simply by sticking the collage down and then working in the line work. It's a really lovely way of working, actually. One of the many approaches I will be sharing in my new online course, which I'm releasing in January. So if you sign up to my newsletter, you'll be sure not to miss me notifying you about that, so that you can sign up for a discount early bird offer. So as you can see, they quickly build up. You end up with, in this case, 4 here of these drawings or mixed media drawings, which again are telling me a little bit more about some of the approaches and things I want to include in my paintings. And number 3 is all about researching and exploring and understanding, really. And so this is my mood board that's in my studio, and some of it needs changing. It's older, but other bits really work. And so I'm using this as a sort of a way of prompting me back to what it is I'm interested in for the Ramshackles. And on the left hand side, a lot of it really resonates, this idea of torn and worn and the different patinas and the layers and the textures. And this idea of organic versus graphic is also resonating a little bit as well, really. And in the centre parts, you can see some of that wonderful text that becomes meandering lines, that becomes quite organic drawing. And I'm really interested in seeing how I weave drawing into all stages of my process, really. Okay, and if I come down to the desk here, I've got all manner of things that I'm researching. So I've got an old series journal from my Mills series, which I'll mention in a minute, some wabi-sabi texts and poetry, and I'm looking at Japanese poetry as well as ways of coming up and developing words around the subject matter. So these are paintings from others, and I'm just looking at these. They're in my series sketchbook as a way of seeing what sort of approaches and techniques have been used, so I can work out whether that is how I want to portray some of the stories in my work. It's that sort of way of researching, really. And then if I come over here, I've got the laptop, and I'm looking at some of Chris Killip, who's a documentary photographer who documented the Northeast, looking at that as well. So a whole range of things for inspiration and so that I can understand what it is I want to somehow portray in my ramshackle paintings. So I hope that's been helpful. I will put the links to videos I've mentioned throughout into the notes. If you would like to subscribe to my newsletter, which I release monthly, then you will keep up to date with new work as I release it, events, shows that I'm involved with, and also any new courses. And I'm developing a new course on collage approaches at the moment. So thanks very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe if you aren't already. I'd love to hear your comments. Hit the subscribe button with notifications on, and then you won't miss a video. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.